Hello and welcome to Wisdom Trek. This is Guthrie Chamberlain and I am your guide to wisdom. Thank you for joining us for our 7-day-a-week, 7 Minutes of Wisdom podcast. This is day 36 of our trek, and in honor of Independence Day in the United States, last Friday we started a 5-day series of episodes where we're going to consult one of our founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin, who was known for his wisdom and practical sage advice. Today we are recording from our podcast studios in the Big House in Marietta, Ohio. It's been a pleasant week, although we've been getting a lot of rain in Ohio this summer. It sure keeps all the foliage green and nice looking. We were unable to get started sanding the floor in the eating area prior to leaving for North Carolina on Sunday, so the project will be the top of the list when we return in mid-July. If you happen to hear any booms tonight, I am recording this on the night of July 4th, and there's some remaining fireworks in the background, so you may hear that during the podcast. So let's begin our trek today as we continue to review the 85 practical tips written by Benjamin Franklin in a document called The Way to Wealth. In order to keep our daily wisdom trek near the 7-minute length, I have split up the remaining tips over the next 2 days, so the series will be 1 day longer than I originally expected. I hope you don't mind. I want to keep the daily wisdom nuggets short and digestible. So let's venture on our trail today as we examine the steps 58 through 71. These are nuggets of truth and wisdom, and when consumed regularly, help us to grow, mature, and become healthy, wealthy, and wise in all areas of our lives. So let's start right in. Number 58. Wise men learn by others' harms, fools scarcely by their own. Now, when a wise person observes the wrongs done by others, they will learn and not fall into the same trap themselves. A foolish person rarely even learns from his own mistakes. Number 59. Silk and satins, scarlet and velvets put out the kitchen fire. Now this was a bit obscure to me, but once I studied it, it means if you spend money on luxuries when you cannot really afford them, especially if the money is borrowed, then you will not have the money for the basic necessities of life when you do really need it. Number 60. The plowman on his legs is higher than a gentleman on his knees. This refers to an honest, hard-working person, even in a common occupation, will have more honor than a person of high status that is lazy and unethical. Proverbs 12:11 puts it this way: a hard worker has plenty of food. A person who chases fantasies has no sense. Number 61. Always taking out of the meal tub and never putting in soon comes to the bottom. If we are always taking without giving back, then we will soon find that there is nothing left to take. Now on the converse, if we give generously, we will have plenty to spare, as indicated in Luke 6:38. Give and you will receive. Your gift will return to you in full, pressed down, shaken together, to make room for more, running over and poured into your lap. The amount you give will determine the amount you get back. Number 62. When the well is dry, they know the worth of water. Now, growing up on the farm, we had problems with our well all the time, and we certainly knew the value of water as we had to scrimp many a times in order to get by. And as with most things in life, we don't really recognize the value of something until it is gone. This could be our health, our wealth, or our relationships. It has been said that even gold is worthless to a starving person if there is no food to purchase. Number 63. If you would know the value of money, go and try to borrow some. While I'm not a big proponent of borrowing money at all, with the possible exception of a home purchase, I do realize that there are times when it may be a necessity. If you have ever tried to borrow money through conventional channels, especially for a business or other major purchase, you soon realize that the banks require everything that you own or possibly might own as collateral. If you do need the money, make sure that you are realistic and willing to lose everything that you own if something goes wrong. Number 64. He that goes a borrowing goes a sorrowing. This quote is not understood in today's economy, where it is so easy to borrow money through credit cards with little or no collateral. Using credit to purchase goods and services that are not necessities is like tying a stone around your own neck while standing on the edge of a deep lake. One slip of your footing and you're underwater. Debt robs you of the ability to make wise choices for the future. Proverbs 22:7 puts it this way: just as the rich rule over the poor, so a borrower is a servant to the lender. Number 65. Pride is as loud a beggar as want, and great deal more saucy. The primary motivating factor for making purchases that we do not need is our pride. We desire what others have, and we want the prestige that comes with owning stuff. It is not wise to make purchases that you cannot pay for in full today. If someone holds you in a higher regard because of what you own, then that person does not have your best interest in mind. Ecclesiastes 4:4 says, Then I observe that most people are motivated to success because they envy their neighbors. But this too is meaningless, like chasing the wind. Number 66. 'Tis easier to suppress the first desire than to satisfy all that follow. Well, this says a lot. Anyone who is a victim of any kind of addiction or dependencies knows this truth all too well. Every time you feed an addictive behavior, it becomes harder to resist the next time, and it takes much more to be satisfied. Be very cautious of what you allow into your life. It may just overtake you. Number 67. Pride that dines on vanity sups on contempt. If you are driven to make purchases or choose any behavior because of vanity and pride, it will only lead to having contempt for yourself and those that are driving that behavior in you. Now, if you are satisfied with what you have and who you are today, then as you improve and are able to gain more, you will be satisfied with tomorrow. And the opposite is also true. Number 68. Pride breakfasts with plenty, dined with poverty, and supped with infamy. Now, pride is never satisfied. At first, we may feel a sense of satisfaction, but as our lives continue on, our pride will take control and consume us. Pride is always screaming, more, more. We need to realize that we are who we are today because of the others that have helped us and by the grace of God. Number 69. A second vice is lying. The first is running in debt. Now, being in debt causes us to make all sorts of unwise decisions. The first person we start lying to is ourselves. We convince ourselves that we need this stuff that we cannot afford. Then we lie to others by displaying a facade that is not true. Number 70. But what madness must it be to run into debt for these superfluities? Now, Ben Franklin's advice is certainly sage. When we purchase stuff that we do not need with money that we do not have to impress others who do not care, it's a sign of insanity. And 71, our final one for today. When you run in debt, you give to another power over your liberty. When we are in debt, we give others control over our lives. We become enslaved to this thief. This thief robs us of our ability to make wise choices. He robs us of our ability to do things that we need to do when we should. And he robs us of our ability to make an impact on the lives of others because we do not have the resources or time to do so. Well, that'll finish our podcast for today. If you missed any of the previous podcasts in this series or any of the previous podcasts at all, please check out Wisdom Trek at iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or wisdom-trek.com. Tomorrow we'll finish up this series of wisdom provided to us by Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers of the United States. So please check in camp tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. Now, if you enjoy this daily dose of wisdom, I encourage each of you to help us in the following 4 ways. Number 1, leave some feedback for us about the podcast at wisdom-trek.com. Number 2, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher so that the podcast will be downloaded to you automatically every day. Number 3, if you previously left us a rating on iTunes or Stitcher, I certainly appreciate it. It means a lot to us. But if not, leave us a rating so we can gain more exposure for others to listen to Wisdom Trek. And number 4, spread the word to everyone you know. Have them join us on our Wisdom Trek. I would really appreciate it, and I thank you for allowing me to serve in this manner. The journal for this podcast can be found at wisdom-trek.com, where we have pictures, tweetable sayings, wisdom nuggets, and free resources. As we take this trek together, let us always remember to live abundantly or fully, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. This is Guthrie Chamberlain reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy the journey, and create a great day. See you tomorrow.